I'm Andrea Quets. I'm from Kenosha, Wisconsin. I'll start off by sharing about this collage, inspired by the marsh at the Wells Preserve. We learned about the marsh that stood on either side of us. To one side was a freshwater marsh. To the other side was a saltwater marsh. This was very close to the ocean, just across the street. The freshwater marsh was caused by human influence because we cut off the supply of salt water by building roads. The Wells Preserve is trying to return that marsh to salt water because the fresh water is not very healthy. I used dull colors for the fresh water. The bright colors are representing the life of the salt water as it begins to take over the freshwater marsh. What I have here is a collage showing how I imagine the salt marsh to look during this long period of change. And this is my narrative. It really sums up a place that I think a lot about, and it means a lot to me. If I devote my life to studying the ocean, I will never be able to know everything about it. If I devote my life to studying a certain coastal ecosystem, I can never know everything about that ecosystem. If I study only the plankton in these ecosystems, I can never know everything about plankton. This constant search of knowledge is one of the things that most draws me to the ocean. It also draws me to horses. Horseback riding is amazing because no matter how much I ride, how much I learn about horses and the sport, I can never learn it all. It means that I can ride for the rest of my life, and if I'm doing it right, it will never become repetitive. The barn is a place that holds a lot of importance to me. Stepping away from the barn for the past 6 weeks has allowed me to forge a deeper connection to it. I have spent time away from the barn before, but these past 6 weeks have probably been the longest period of time I've spent away from horses and out of the saddle. I remember a time when I didn't ride horses. They were just a barnyard animal that would appear in the puzzles that I loved to piece together. I wanted so badly to ride the horses. Mom and Dad took me on a trail ride once. There was a gorgeous dappled gray that I really wanted to ride. Dappled grays were my dream horse for a long time, and I was excited to ride that pony. Instead, I was told I must ride a large bay horse. I remember his name was King. Anyway, this experience with the horses stuck in my mind, and when I was 7 or 8, I began to beg for riding lessons. This was really important to me. I didn't know why, and I had no clue what to expect when I began lessons, but I really wanted to ride. Finally, when I turned 9, my parents found a place for me to learn about horses and how to ride. At first, riding didn't mean a thing to me, except that it was empowering to sit atop a giant horse. Eventually, I learned that that giant horse wasn't really that giant after all. Maybe during the winter, when he gained some fuzziness, he seemed bigger though. Eventually, I began riding more and more. Soon I was riding 5 times per week, consistently and year-round. Riding brought purpose to my life. Through riding, I began to learn new things about myself that I could never learn in school. I give much of the credit to my current riding instructor, Kalen Kikuska, for teaching me in this way, teaching me to think in this way. I learned to dig deeper into the murky waters of my thoughts. Riding morphed into a tool for self-expression. I needed a new perspective, but once I found it, I made a new discovery. I had always been told that horses know your emotions. This new perspective allowed me to see that the horses I rode didn't just know my emotions, they mirrored them. Between reading my horse's body language and reflecting on my own emotions, I learned a lot about myself. Once again, this is why riding is like the ocean. Between learning about riding and about myself, I can never learn it all. There will always be new surprises. Horses are unpredictable creatures, just like each new wave. Riding began to give me purpose for my time spent on Earth. Maybe it doesn't give me a purpose for my future, but I'd argue that it does. Regardless, it gives me intention for my present.